somebody's giving that type of money just to watch a video. You can't touch, you can't smell, you can't feel, you can only watch. And you're giving that type of money up for that. That's crazy. If a female finds success early on in her career, young age, do you think it's harder for her to find somebody long term over a man? Because I feel like men, we could still find that long term relationship even if we find success at a young age. Because ultimately a woman is gonna attach to you and look up to you since the beginning of time. That's just how it's been.
It depends which way you're looking at it. But yeah, everything he says.
Well, how would you look at it?
Well, yeah, I guess I think he is. I've heard clips before where you spoke about, and I think, God, I couldn't disagree more. But it's because I've looked at it out of context. Then when I've actually listened to the podcast and it's put in context, I'm like, he is completely right. So there's not many things apart from him saying people are gay I disagree with. Like, I'm like, okay, yeah, that is true. It's factual. A lot of the time we're not talking opinions. We're talking facts. Near enough everything we've spoken about today, when you talk about the past, the future, how it is, it's factual. You look on the news, everything we're saying is true. We're not here just saying, oh my God, I think this is vile. We're saying it's vile. Here's the stats. Here's the statistics to it. So you can disagree with it. We're not saying everything we agree with, but we're giving you the facts. You can't cry about that. I've been called like the female version of Andrew Tate for a long time now. And
Is she really the female version of Andrew Tate? I mean, I don't know too much about her being the female version of Andrew Tate. I'm not sure about that. I don't know too much about her. So I don't know what she's about besides sleeping with 1,000 men in 24 hours and doing some crazy shit that it's like, I wouldn't recommend a female to do. So to compare her as a female Andrew Tate, I'm not sure about that one.
I think just because I say women are lazy, they are poorly educated, they're not servicing their guy. And if you're not servicing your guy, he's going to go and cheat. And everyone's like, you basically sound like Andrew Tate. But it's like, I'm talking from experience. They're talking from call experience. And I'm saying, hey, these are the facts. I've slept with over 1,000 people and this is my experience.
But if you want a really intellectual conversation, if you want to really actually...
It's so funny when Andrew Tate starts speaking because he has that high vocal. Like, it's like, all right, I got power in my vocals, so it's pretty funny. But every time he speaks, it's like you want to hear what he has to say. He has that kind of, that demeanor.
Analyze society by and large. This false of male sexual exclusivity is actually creating most of the problems in the world today. When we say to women that a man should be loyal to only her, that's what's creating all of the divorces, all of the breakups, all of the women who run from man to man to man to man trying to find a loyal one. None of them are ever loyal. So then they end up just chasing the bag and chasing money and end up being sexual.
I disagree with that because I believe I'm a loyal man myself. I'm loyal. I know I'm loyal. God knows I'm loyal. So I don't think every man is out there just trying to chase woman to woman to woman to woman. So I don't agree with that. But then again, I do believe that it depends on your status too, like Andrew talks about. I do believe depending on your status, you have a lot more women flocking towards you. So it's going to tempt you to want to be around a bunch of women and just get it in with them. I'm assuming that's from his perspective. I mean, I ain't balling like him right now, so I don't have that privilege, nor do I call it a privilege. I shouldn't call it a privilege because I wouldn't want that. But I mean, not all men are disloyal. I don't believe so.
Workers, which is fine. But all of this comes from this bullshit idea that men have ever been sexually exclusive. Men have never been sexually exclusive. Women were to guarantee paternity. Men, since the dawn of time, every king, every sultan have had harems, they have had concubines. Every single man who could, did. The men who can't.
Which that is true. Like, even back in history, men had multiple women. I mean, I think back even in China, one of the kings of China back then, he had a giant castle and each room had a woman in it that he would sleep with. So he was sleeping around with multiple women, if not thousands, I believe it was. But I mean, it is true. History shows that men have never been exclusive to one female. It's just history.
Say they wouldn't and say they don't want it because they can't. It's like a broke man saying he wouldn't drive a Ferrari. No one gives a because you're poor. If you're actually important and you can have a harem, you have a harem. They always have. So now we have this weird society where men are out here trying very hard to compete in the sexual marketplace. to become as important and rich and successful and well-known as possible because it's so hard to get a woman. When they finally pull that off, women are chasing him because women only want the top 1% of men. And then when a woman gets with
There is I guess it depends where you are in life too, though, and depend where you're living, because not all women are chasing that 1% male figure. But like I said, I think it depends where you are too, though, and where you live, because in Jersey, I don't see that a lot where people are chasing like the top 1%, because honestly, I don't think there's a top 1% that live in Jersey anyways. So maybe if you're in California or New York or I don't know where, but at least where I'm at, females they just kind of settle for what they can get, pretty much.
with him, she tells him, you can only be with me and no one else. And then he's like, okay, well, you've been with a whole bunch of men before me. You're not even a fucking virgin. You don't even listen to me. You don't shut up when I tell you to. So why the fuck am I going to only be with you?
But why are you picking you know, people just saw you pick your nose?
What?
You just picked your nose in front of like one person.
One person?
Yeah, that person's gonna laugh at you now for picking your nose.
But it was itchy.
You all have big mouths. So if I'll just be with all of you. And then she's like, oh my God, he cheated. And then she'll run away and just do the same thing again with another guy. And before you know it, after 20 bucks, she sits there and goes, why am I fucking for free? Let me just get paid out of this. So then she says, all right, she either becomes a sex worker honestly or becomes a sex worker dishonestly via charges and claims. That's what they do. If you're a woman who makes a claim against a man and you have an OnlyFans, you literally use sex to make money. And you literally lie to men pretending to like them. And now you're doing the same thing in a courtroom. The court has become OnlyFans. The court's OnlyFans now. Nothing's different. A woman just gets her pussy and gets her tears or gets her lies, and she uses the court system to make money as opposed to using the OnlyFans platform. What's the difference?
I do agree, though, that female have a way easier path to success, depending what success is to you. But in general, in the worldview of success, women have an easier path because they can use their body, their feminism, their femininity. Did I say that right? I did. And all that in order to promote themselves. And thirsty ass men, hungry ass men who don't get none, who see that, are willing to pay the money for that pleasure, pretty much. Because now watching it for free is not enough for a lot of men. I heard of men that actually pay for the corn sites and all that stuff. And it's like, damn, can't you just go on a site and see that for free? You got to pay for that stuff now? So imagine OnlyFans where you get like a direct type of interaction with a female, and it's really not a female, it's a manager. So imagine the money that can be made, which we see.
I think
So you either
probably
have
a lot of
honest or
women-
dishonest sex workers. And all of this comes from the fact that we don't have a society where you say, a man at that stature is going to have 4 or 5 wives. Get over it. Life would be a lot simpler if we could. If women weren't.
Now, how many of you guys are looking at her right now, thirsting right now? And all she's doing is sitting down with her legs folded, a little skirt. You see a little leg action going on. And some of y'all probably thirsty as hell right now. Damn, that's just all men, ain't it? All men. But some men know how to control it. All men think like that, but some men don't. That's what it is. All men think like that, but some men know how to control it. That's the difference.
Brainwashed into believing they need a loyal man. A man is loyal to you when he puts up with you, protects you, and provides for you. If a man's paying your bills and will stop you getting attacked on the street and puts up with your emotions, that's loyal. Don't worry about where his goes.
Especially the putting up for the emotions part. That's a big one right there. If a man is putting up with your emotions, your attitude, all that stuff, just know that they really are there for you. And I could speak off of experience because I could just be sitting down by myself in my lonesome for hours and hours and hours, if not days, and I'd be perfectly fine. But I choose to just deal with it and be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? So if a man is dealing with your attitude and your emotions, you got a real one next to you.
That's loyalty. He's shown you loyalty. And he can put it wherever he wants. That's actually loyalty.
What do you think about that?
See, I'm very different though, because I'm the one that does the income. They probably won't be working it, but the other way around, because women also want things to be different. So like, I'm not saying I agree with that. Like, I think if I was with a guy, they probably wouldn't work. I'd be the one to be in control, and I'd be the one fucking loads with the guys, and they'd be loyal to me.
Well, it depends what kind of man you're looking for, though. Because yes, you're making a shit ton of money doing what you do, but what kind of man are you really attracting? Somebody who's just gonna leech off of you and not really care for you, to be honest. Because what does a man ultimately want in life is success, is money. And if you provide that for them in an easy way, all right, bet. Well, I guess I'm just gonna stick around and you do what you want, do your OnlyFans. But shoot, if I don't, there's some guys out there. If I don't gotta pay bills and nothing like that, I don't gotta work, and you just do everything. All right, that's the kind of guy you're gonna end up getting.
Things are different.
Yeah, she'd be bossing it because she has the money. She's doing the protection and provision because she's got the cash. But what I'm saying is, the happiest women, let's look, and this is cultural. Like if you go to Russia and you meet a billionaire, you think he has one wife. I mean, he has his wife, of course, and he has his fucking girlfriend. And his wife just keeps her eyes closed and doesn't care, and he gets to enjoy his girlfriends, and his wife gets to drive a G-Wagon, and everyone's happy. It's only in the West where she'll be like, I can't believe he wants to talk to another girl. It's stupid. And then women end up leaving men they love because he cheated, and then getting cheated on by a man they don't love. It's dumb. And it's just over and over and over again until they end up as or old and used to the point where they can't get the quality of man they want. Then they're sitting around 36. I can't find a man who's, I don't like this guy. I don't like this guy. Because the guys you like are with 22-year-olds, my dear. And you had a guy who loved you and you fucked it up because you cried over him cheating like an idiot. Women, find a man you love.
I'm not sure about that. Like, what do you guys think? Do you think if a female finds success early on in her career, young age, do you think it's harder for her to find somebody long term over a man? Because I feel like men, we could still find that long term relationship even if we find success at a young age. Because ultimately, a woman is going to attach to you and look up to you since the beginning of time. That's just how it's been. As a female, you have success, it's going to be hard to find a man that's going to look up to you because us men are just naturally masculine. And to look up to a female, like, yes, it's going to be hard to find. But that's for longevity, though, I think. So I believe even if it's not OnlyFans, just success in general, I feel like it's harder for a female to find that long-term relationship over a man.
Let him cheat. Just tell him to only come home to you and only love you. Let him do what he has to do. Don't stress him too much. Have some kids. Drive a Bentley. That fixes society. But of course, if I say that, I'm a misogynist. I'm the worst man in the world. I deserve to go to jail.
If you said to that girl, go and work, go and earn your own money, go and do this, they don't want to do that either. So you got to pick and choose. Like
when you tell women to go earn their own money, one way or another, it ends up being sex work. You tell me these you don't see these female fucking estate agents, whatever, in their little girl suit and their makeup and all pretty. Have you ever seen like one of these successful girl boss estate agents who's obese? I'm asking.
I haven't seen an obese female estate agent, no.
Have you seen obese women achieve anything financially? Or are there, because if you say
obese women that achieve anything financially, it's possible. I think Lizzo can qualify for that. And she's achieved financial success through music. There's a lot of big women that achieve financial success, but I guess if you want to put them in a category, in a percentage, maybe not much.
No, then you're saying the women are judged on how they look, so all version of female work is sex work. That's the question.
Okay, I see what he's talking about.
Can women do anything without being judged on the one thing they have, which is their sexuality?
I think you can be an obese comedian and make money.
Yeah, that's true. Because a comedian, it doesn't matter how you look. Because you can get on yourself for being obese, and if people laugh, then they're going to watch you and enjoy it. So as a comedian, yeah, I could definitely see that. But I guess as an OnlyFans, I mean, hey, if that's your stuff, and if you like obese type of content, then yeah, there's a market for that. But I guess overall, probably not.
You're making jokes about the fact you're fat.
Yeah,
that's
and women
why
aren't
I find you funny.
Let's be honest, women aren't funny.
Aren't funny, did you say?
Of course not.
I think I've made you
Women
smile a
aren't
few
funny.
times.
Yeah, you've made me smile because I've been impressed by your intuition.
I don't agree with that. There are women that's funny. Now it depends what kind of funny are you talking about. Are they funny because damn you just sound stupid so it makes me laugh? Or are you funny because you got some good jokes? there's some funny comedian females out there, but there's a lot of funny female because they just be saying some stupid shit.
I've been impressed by how correctly you see society. But I think by and large, female comedians aren't really funny because humor is a masculine mating tactic. We have to make women laugh for them to like us, whereas women don't have to make us laugh. They have to be hot. Men fall in love with what they see. Women fall in love with what they hear.
Yeah.
Which is why women wear makeup. So we see something we like. And that's why men lie. So they hear something they like. Men lie. Every man on a date is a gangster and he's rich. You go, any girl go on a date with any guy. If women watching this, I know you've been
Men
on a
lie,
date with some
women
guy
lie.
recently. He's got a few tattoos. He's got a sleeve. And he's a gangster. He's a criminal. And he's got all this money. And he's a jackass. He's got like $6,000 in the bank and a rented car on finance. But he's just lying. He's trying to pretend he's the G and, you know, you're going to fall for it. You're going to suck his and then you're not even going to get paid out at the end of it. And then you're going to realize he's a loser and you're going to go get another boyfriend. So you were just sex working for free like a fucking idiot. You just got tricked. You can't trick Bonnie. Bonnie gets paid. You can't trick Bonnie. Bonnie gets her money at the end. You're dumbass. You're sucking for free like a fucking retard. So this is the world we live in now. So women are always judged on how they look no matter what they do. Because to true biology, men are trying to find attractive women who can give them children, which is why we're attracted to women who are younger because they're more likely to get pregnant. That's why attraction in and of itself, what is attraction? Attraction is health. When you look at a woman who looks healthy or has good genetics, because she'll give you strong offspring, that's what attraction even is.
Yeah, no, I believe that. And I believe that's just for all men, we find that attractive. So health is attractive, which is why us men need to get our health together too, because if we're attracted to that, then we should probably be the same thing that we're attracted to, which is health. And health, with health comes fitness. So shit, I know I'm trying.
So women are always going to use their attraction. Once a woman's obese and ugly, then she starts walking down the street screaming about a bunch of garbage because she knows she can't compete in the true market of sexual dynamics, which is men have power and women have attraction. That's how it works. So Rob, let me ask you a question, sir. We have to make a decision. We are headed down the road we are traveling. Do we do an absolute 180 reversal of society and go back to traditional men in charge, patriarchal society where women have to obey their fathers, then obey their future husbands, where they have to get married young, have children?
Well, I believe that's biblical anyway. So it's biblical for a woman to submit to her husband, just as far back as the days of Adam and Eve. That's just history. So, I mean, going back to that, shoot, if we want to get biblical, yeah.
Or do we continue down the path where every single woman decides to make as much money as possible using her sexuality like Bonnie does? These are the two options. They're the only options that exist. There is no in between. There is no smart answer. There is no Aikido. There is A or B, Rob. Do you want to remove the female vote, or do you want your daughters and every other woman you know to end up like Bonnie Blue? Which one?
Well, I think both roads end
No,
the same
don't
way.
try it.
Yeah, God forbid my daughter would end up like Bonnie Blue. And that has nothing to do with who she is personally, because I don't know who she is personally, but her path, I don't care how much money you make, man. You just cannot put yourself in that situation, man. It's not worth the money to expose yourself to that extent. Like that kind of publicity, no thank you.
Aikido it, Rob.
But both end the same way.
Which is what?
Both end up back with patriarchy running society. When, what is it? Weak men
Create hard times. And hard times create strong men, and strong men create good times, and good times create weak men.
And that is the cycle.
Absolutely.
And yeah, society is weak right now. And if you don't have strong leadership, you have government that starts to lead. And when government starts to lead and becomes too bloated and takes from society, in the end, society rebel. Even people who voted hardcore Labour, and even people in Labour will turn on Labour soon enough.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Especially with the way life is right now, like you can make content and make a lot of money. I mean, you got YouTubers, streamers, content creators making crazy types of money just off of making content. So hard labor is like an old school type of thing now. That's why you got a lot of old school people saying, "Oh, you don't want to work, this and that, blah blah blah." It's not that you don't want to work. It's just because money can be made so much easier nowadays off of social media. Like the amount of money you can make off of making content is insane. So people see that and people want to follow that. It's no more, oh yeah, get a 401k, have a retirement, this and that. You can have your own retirement, open up an IRA, and the money that you make, you throw it in there. Be responsible with your own money, but if you can do something to where you're not killing yourself, I mean, that's just the way life is moving right now.
But I think things are going to get far more interesting before that happens.
Well, revolution. That's the only way you reset.
But revolution requires warriors, and that's why men and masculinity is under such constant attack. That's why they're trying to get rid of me. That's why they don't like what I say, because when you have men who are prepared to stand up for something, we're seen as a threat to the system. That's why masculinity in and of itself is attacked, because they don't want men who stick up for themselves, because if you stick up for yourself, you stick up for society, which is why they use feminism and they weaponize it to destroy the masculine instinct. Because if women have more power than men, and if you can't even have a family, and you can't even tell your own wife what to do, why are you going to try and have any vested interest in society? If you have a house and you're the king of that household, and your woman obeys you and your children obey you and you're the king of the house, you're not going to give up that street or that town or that city or that country easily, because that's your house, that's your kingdom. If you're going home and your woman doesn't listen to you and she doesn't suck, and you're paying all these taxes and your kids ignore you and they just watch YouTube and you're not the man of anything, why are you going to stand up and rebel on the street? You don't give a shit. You've lost all vested interest and protection. Your protective instinct has been neutered. You're a eunuch. That is why feminism is used. This is the point I'm making about certain groups of men using women as a conduit to destroy other groups of men. Women are not the gun. Women are the bullet. Men still hold the guns. Feminism is a bullet that a man has shot. This is what most people don't understand about all of these ideals. And what I'm saying is, the society we have built has encouraged women to be as promiscuous, as rebelling, as open, as sexual, and to get as much money as possible. And Bonnie has just played the game the best and won the game. The game is chess.
I guess, can you really blame her? Because, well, like he said, she technically did just play the game. The game has opened up a new arena where you can just make this type of content like OnlyFans and whatnot and make a shit ton of money. So it's kind of like, you know what? Is it her fault? It's kind of 50-50 because she just played the game. Yes, she entered in the game, so she has fault on her own for deciding to play the game, but the game was open and she just jumped in.
She's a grandmaster at it. You can't complain about the grandmaster. You have to complain about the game of chess. So it's completely asinine for anybody to ever give Bonnie a hard time about anything she's doing ever, when in fact she's just the best at the game that's currently being played. Because 99% of women are trying to do the same thing as her, which is use to get some money.
And that doesn't bother you hearing that.
No, it's factual. It's the truth. So why could I be offended? If you're offended by something that's factual, then change it. If I was offended by calling a prostitute, then I should change that. But how can I sit there and say I'm ever offended by anyone telling me what's the truth?
And Rob, and I want to make something clear.
And that's one thing too, man. She really just disregarded what anybody thinks about her and can care less about her image, which I notice a lot of people, especially in the social media space, when it comes to being a successful content creator, I think you gotta not care about what people think, number one, and really not care about your image. Like if your image is tarnished, you can't really care about that. And she's an example of that. She don't care about her image being tarnished. And well, with that came a lot of money, depending what realm you want to play in.
I really do try and ground myself in absolute logic in all ways. And that's why I'm extremely hard on myself. I've said to you in previous podcasts that what happened to me about jail and all this, it was me. I take absolute responsibility for everything that's ever happened to me. I'm not a person who blames anyone else. Considering women just want status and money, don't think I haven't thunk about the fact about the women who say they love me. I'm not dumb. I love you so much. I love you. I love you. Of course. I love that you're attractive. I love that you're attractive and you do as I say. And you love that I'm very famous and very rich and I give you a lifestyle. Now you say you'd love me if I didn't give you the lifestyle. But if I didn't give you the lifestyle, how would I even be me? How am I me with no money? How am I me with no status? How am I me with no power? Who am I then? I'm a different person.
True.
So I know you're with me because you get things. And I'm with you because I get things. It's transactional. All relationships are transactional. This podcast is a transaction.
100%.
This is how things work.
That's facts.
But isn't love a human need?
Love is a transaction.
It's a human need. for
Women love
connection.
who protect.
Yeah, I feel love is the one thing that every human on this planet desires, whether you believe it or not. It's an emotion. We all have emotions, and love is that ultimate emotion. Whether you're a man, woman, whether you love physical things or material things, whatever the case may be, love is something that brings happiness. And to have long happiness, longevity, I feel like that's gonna have to be with another person that you can love and they love you the same way. Good luck finding that, but I think that's what it is.
And provide for them, whether they're the French soldier or the German soldier, sir. Women love when they get what they want. That's
like,
it.
You need
So there's no
water.
loyalty. Loyalty doesn't
I think it could be the same for men. Men love when they get what they want to.
exist.
Loyalty, what I'm trying to say here, and any man who's been to divorce or had problems with women will agree with me and understand exactly what I'm saying. Women are loyal to how they feel. If you make them feel a certain way, then they're loyal to that feeling, which is loyal to you. Women aren't loyal to anything outside of how they feel. Men actually are more loyal than women because men, like I said, can suffer gracefully. Women can't.
Facts.
Men will be loyal to a society. Men will be loyal to a race. Men will be loyal to their friends. Women can't even get along for 5 minutes amongst themselves. Men will be best friends for 50 years. Men are loyal. We know loyalty completely. We'll go die in a ditch for a flag. You want to talk about loyalty?
I can agree with that because, like, me, like, I'm loyal to my family, my close cousins. Like, I'm loyal to them. Like, I'll run and fight for them. And around my circle, my years, I've noticed that females don't act the same way when it comes to their friends. They actually turn on their friends' backs and talk shit behind their back. And then they find out about it, and then it's just a cycle. I noticed that. But when it comes to me personally and my circle of friends and family, definitely loyalty is there when it comes to us men. So I can kind of see where he's going with that one.
Men are loyal. Women aren't loyal. Women are, how do I feel today? You could take a woman on a private jet to a mansion in Miami and have the best time. She'll tell you how much she loves you. And then the next day when she's mad at you, she will literally say verbatim, you never give me anything. You don't take care of me. You reject me. I'm not looked after. She'll forget 12 hours before where she had the world. Because women are only care about how they feel. They don't even think. They just feel. And what they feel is absolute gospel truth. And it matters more than society, matters more than everything else. Why?
And that's true. And that's one thing that us as a human race need to disconnect from is how we feel. Because feelings can lie to you. It's not about, oh, I feel this is right. No, it's about what is right. Like, I feel like eating a cheesecake right now. Is that the right decision? Probably not. But I sure as hell can eat one right now because I feel like it. Feelings could be deceiving.
Why are the white women of Britain not waking up saying our population's being replaced? Our grandfathers died for this island. We need to have as many white children as possible before this becomes a caliphate. Why don't we protect the race of British people who only have this land, and when this land is gone, there's nowhere else to go. We need to find white husbands and have Christian children now. Why? Because they don't feel like it. They don't give a shit about World War II. They don't give a shit. Their grandfathers died. They don't give a f- about England. They don't give a f- about anything because they only care about how they feel. Whereas a man might sit and say, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to suffer for the greater good of my race, my nation, my ideals. So men are loyal.
You hear
But
that
women
a lot,
aren't.
for sure.
What do you think about that, Bonnie?
I mean, it really depends. Like, for example, if I was in a relationship, I believe he'd be loyal and I'd be loyal. But like I said, that's...
But you're getting divorced, aren't you?
Yeah, because for a whole separate reason. Me and my ex, we...
Unfortunately, it's hard for her to talk about loyalty at this point. Like, when you publicly made content about sleeping with 1,000 men in 24 hours, your loyalty in a relationship is out the window. That's gone. It's diminished. There's no loyalty. There's no man that will trust you and believe that you will be loyal in a relationship at this point. That's gone. Unless he's a dumbass. Let's be real. Nobody's thinking she's going to be loyal in a relationship.
we grew apart, was together, went from like the age of 14. You change a lot in that time. And most women just stay in that relationship because it's comfortable. It's easy. It'd been easier if I stay with my partner. It saves the work. It saves the, to a heartache to a certain extent. It saves the having to split your finances. It's easy and lazy of me if I just stayed in that. And most people in relationships, they stay with that person because it's easy and they're in a comfortable situation. Most people don't go, I want to focus on my happiness and leave that relationship. But I do. I focus on myself. I'm happy to admit I am selfish a lot of the time. And for me, staying in that relationship.
Ain't nothing wrong with her saying that. Ain't nothing wrong with her admitting that, because all humans are selfish. We all have selfish wants and selfish needs. It's just part of our human nature. So she ain't wrong for saying that.
Didn't mean happiness. So I left that. Most women would have stayed in that.
So are men loyal and women not loyal? Do you agree with what Andrew said there?
I was loyal to my partner to a certain degree.
But loyal, when
When was that?
loyal, everyone's confusing that with sexually exclusive. See, I'm loyal to my women, but I'm not sexually exclusive to my women.
Yeah.
And a weak man will confuse the two and go, no, loyalty is sexual exclusivity because he's a little bitch. That's nothing to do with loyalty.
I think it depends on your agreement and communication with that.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what I said, like me being loyal to my cousins. It has nothing to do with sexual exclusivity. It's just I'm loyal to my family. As of some females, they're not loyal to their family or friends, and they talk behind their backs, and they find out, and then it's all drama. It's a different story.
Person. Some people have swingers. Some people have open relationships. So that, yes, they're having sex with the people, but that's when their agreement. Everything's down to communication. And women aren't open to communicating a lot of the time.
All right, Rob. So which woman do you have more respect for? A woman like,
Here we go, A or B.
yeah.
Because that's how the
No,
the
but
world
life
works.
is A and B's. Life is actually A and B's.
Andrew,
no, I'm asking you.
I'll play the game.
Okay,
Let's go.
perfect. A woman like Bonnie, who's very honest and very open and uses her promiscuity to financially gain, or a woman who pretends she loves a man for money who she doesn't really love and intends on divorcing. Because there's 1,000 times more of them than there are Bonnie Blues. Off a man she barely even loved in the first place and she was only with him for money. Or a woman like Bonnie who's honest. Who do you respect more?
I respect someone who's more honest about their
Absolutely.
femininity and
Absolutely.
sexuality.
So these women who are just with me and telling me they love me because they want my money, and the women who accuse me of when they don't get it, and all of my current girlfriends who say, I love you so much, but they run their mouth to me the second they don't like something and they get upset about something and they show they don't actually respect me. They just want a lifestyle. Do you think I respect them more than I respect a woman like Bonnie who's honest?
Do you think maybe you're just attracting that kind of woman because
Well,
of your
because I'm
message?
super successful and super rich, probably.
But that's what women
Well, he's going to attract all kinds of women at that level. So he's attracting everything pretty much.
chase.
But that's what women chase.
He just picks what he wants.
That's what the
Do
most.
all women chase that? though?
Well, Rob,
A lot. The people that are broke sit and complain the fact they're broke. So just because they don't have it, they want it.
Rob, let's reverse this. You're saying I attract a certain type of woman who loves money, right?
I think we all attract a certain type of person based on who we are. What we
Okay,
put out.
well, you nailed it. So based on who you are, depends on what you chase in the world. Wouldn't the most attractive women on the planet want money? Let me ask you, this is a thought experiment. If you're a beautiful woman and you know you're beautiful, you're in the top tier of beauty on the planet. You're the top 0.1% of women on the planet in terms of pure looks. Are you going to use that to make money, or are you going to go with a broke? You're going to use that to make money because you have a USP.
Well, society proves it, I think.
Absolutely. So if I want the most beautiful women on the planet, those women want money.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So here we are.
So you just get rich to attract beautiful women? Is that what
No,
you
that's
do?
not why I got rich. I got rich because I wanted to be powerful. I actually didn't want money. I wanted power. Turns out, so imagine being Elon, the richest man on the planet. You still got some Jezebel fucking running her mouth about you and taking you to court. That's the matriarchy we live in. You can be the richest man on the fucking planet. Some silly woman can still lie about you and drag you to court. Isn't that incredible? Think about that. That would never happen in ancient times. You're a king. You're the richest man on the face of the earth. And some random chick gets to drag you to court and put you in front of a judge. Incredible. Look at me. Trying to take down my empire with these women just lying. This is the world we live in. We live in a matriarchy. No man is safe. The point I'm making is, if you're a man who wants the most attractive women on the planet, and you want true beauty, the women you find will instinctually want money. Because they're beautiful. Beautiful women, that's what they want. They want to get something for their beauty. Because they understand how unique they are.
100%. It's transactional in that aspect too, for sure.
Don't we all? If you understand your unique set of skills, you want a high-paying wage at a job. If you know you're the only person who can do this job, you want to be paid well for it, don't you? This is human nature. My point is this.
So love is transactional.
Of course love's transactional. My point is, for the people complaining about Bonnie Blue, they need to shut the fuck up and complain about all the women out here pretending they love men and dragging them through divorce courts and taking half their fucking stuff.
See, with me, you
Bonnie's
know what
never
you're
taken
getting
half of
into.
a man's stuff.
No.
You've never taken half of a man's anything. You've taken some OnlyFans subscription. She ain't taking half of a man's house.
I mean, she probably has taken a half a man something if somebody's subscribing to them and dropping have their freaking retirement account on them, which I've heard stories of people doing that to OnlyFans chicks. So maybe not intentional, but maybe she has. Who knows?
Well,
There's
wait a minute here. How much your top subscribers pay you? I mean,
Yeah, but that's voluntary. It wasn't taken. It was given.
They've chosen to do. That's like if
How much? What's the biggest amount?
Which
of
I said
subscribers?
we're
unintentional.
talking like hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands of
course.
pounds.
Look at that. That's crazy. Somebody's giving that type of money just to watch a video. You can't touch, you can't smell, you can't feel. You can only watch. And you're giving that type of money up for that. That's crazy.
Of course.
An individual man pays
Yeah.
just to see your content online.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's given. It's not taken. She didn't drag him in front
I'm
of a
not
judge.
holding him at gunpoint.
What do you think about men spending hundreds of thousands of pounds?
I used to have a webcam studio. That's normal. If
It's pathetic, dude. It's sad.
she didn't take a man in front of a judge and forcibly take his stuff. I think what Bonnie's doing is far less destructive or heinous than a woman dragging a full-grown man in front of a judge and making him liquidate half of his empire that he worked for his entire life so she can take that money and go f- another man with it. I think every single divorce currently going through the courts today is more heinous and more aggravating than anything Bonnie's done.
What do you guys think about that? I don't know. He made a lot of good points. And a lot of things that she said too. There was some truth in it as well. But he spoke a lot more than she had. So, but I don't know, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that.